Static fades, I twist the knob. The shack comes alive, this is my job. LEDs glow, antennas high. Another night beneath the sky. I'm calling out, hear that tone. Across the globe, I'm not alone. The net's alive and I'm checking in. Let the conversation begin. We're at the Amateur Radio Roundtable. We're all plugged in, solid and stable. W5KUB's calling loud and proud. Spinning stories through the static cloud. From KW5GP to WI7BG. We're rocking the bands wild and free. Hey, Glenn's got mods on a breadboard bass. Brett's breaking news from a distant place. Tom's at the helm like a seasoned vet, streaming it live on the internet. Antenna swing, the skip is long. We're singing the ham radio song. Spin that dial, let's catch some heat. 40 meters never felt so sweet. But at the Amateur Radio Roundtable, with coax lines and power cables, Deeks, Patricians, QSLs, we got more ham than a southern belle. From KW5GP to WI7BG, we're working the world wild and free. Well, yeah, rocking worldwide. Mic in hand and a call sign, pride. Oh, yeah, the Amateur Radio Roundtable. Story strong and signal stable. So key it up and call your name in this wild RF Hall of Fame. From KW5GP to you and me. We're hamming hard 7 and 3. CQ out. Hamming hard 7-3. Da, 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 out.
All right, welcome to everybody. You're tuned in to Amateur Radio Roundtable, a show about ham radio, amateur radio, shortwave, and electronics, plus maybe a little bit more. Who knows? Hey, if you're out there listening on WBCQ, shortwave station on 7490, we'd love to hear from you. I like hearing from our listeners out there and where you are in the world and how you're hearing the station. So send us an email to Tom at W5KUB, Tom at W5KUB.com. I forgot to put that on there. If you would, hit the subscribe button down there on YouTube. It should be down in, I think over here somewhere. It should be a subscribe button. Hit that. It helps us out a whole lot to get our show known to other people that are looking around on YouTube, looking for shows about electronics and shortwave and ham radio and so forth. Join our, hey, we've got a great ham radio Facebook group. We've got about 14,000 members in it. We'd love for you to join that Facebook group. Just go to Facebook and up there in the search bar, type in W5KUB, W5KUB, and it'll take you right to our Facebook group, and we'll approve you there. We're also on just about every podcast carrier out there, from iHeartRadio to Google Play to iTunes. All those are carrying us, so you can catch an audio version of the show, download it or listen to it right on the spot anytime you want to. We're on a lot of different places. So hey, tonight we're going to have a kind of review of Hamvention, yeah. Oh man, I get that sometimes messed up with Hamcation and Hamfest, but tonight we're going to be talking about a Hamvention 2025. Brett was there, Glenn was there, so they've got some pictures, they've got some video. We want to hear from them. I've got a video that Bill Brown sent me. They did a Pico balloon launch for the youth on Saturday, I believe. We've got it, and we'll play that a little later. And again, we may have time for an update on W5 KUB 119. It's somewhere over Kazakhstan right now. It's on its second lap around the world. And we can talk about that a little later if we have time. So let's jump in here with, let's see who's first. Well, looks like Brett's on top there, so we'll go with him. Hey, Brett, how you doing, man?
Oh, hello, back from Hamvention, which I really enjoyed. It was a lot of fun. It was just an exhausting trip. Just so much was going on, so many great people, so many things to learn about, so much cool equipment, and I've got video of all of that documenting my trip, so I'll play it for you later this evening. Since I've gotten back, I've just been catching up on everything that happened while I was gone and doing a little more antenna work today. I've mentioned on previous shows that my antenna is held taut by sash weights from old windows. Well, I decided that those sash weights, which were kind of rusty, needed painting, and so I went ahead and have been, spray painting those. Various other chores related to ham radio. I'm real eager to do some more work on the higher bands before the solar cycle really ebbs and suddenly we're not able to go as far or as fast as we like.
Well, all right. And I hear that you bought something there at Hamvention. We'll talk about that a little later too.
Oh,
hey,
yes.
let's jump down into to Glenn over in Conway, Arkansas. Glenn, man, you have a good time? Talk to us.
Oh, man, it was just overwhelming from the time I hit the ground, more so than any other Hamvention. Yeah, I get confused. I hit the ground running Thursday night. It hit the FDIM 4 days in May, vendor night over in Fairborn. And then, of course, Hamfest Friday morning. The line getting into Hamfest was unbelievable. It went out to the back of the parking lot and wrapped around all the way to the ticket booth. It had to have been about a quarter of a mile long. It was amazing. It was crowded. The flea market was full, lots of good stuff. And it was just, from beginning to end, seemed like it just happened in an instant. Next thing you know, I'm flying home.
Yeah, did you buy a bunch of stuff while you were up there?
Actually, no. I didn't really buy a ton of stuff, bought a bunch of little odds and ends, but
Yeah.
not a whole lot. I only had like 10 pounds left in my luggage, so I had to be a little frugal with stuff. It's no fun flying versus driving.
Yeah. Well, man, you said the lines were long. I hate long lines. And my suggestion, if Hamvention is listening, maybe put 3 guys at the gate and let them put 3 lines there, and you can get them in, 3 times faster. How would that be?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. Like I say, it was just unreal. I know that they said Sunday that they had broken another attendance record.
Yeah, now Sunday's a free day that anybody can come out there and check it out for free.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking overall for the Hamfest. So that says the attendance had to have been more than 34,000.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll be issuing the numbers here soon, and we'll report on it.
They said they had their satellite sales outfits that had to report their sales numbers in before they'd have their totals.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. All right.
And they did not call W5KUB once for a prize.
Well, I'll tell you what, I did not have a ticket in the bucket this time. Every year in Dayton, I've never put a ticket in the barrel at Dayton. In the 40 years I went, I never put a ticket in. I was too busy, I was too busy. And hey, the first 25 years I was outside, and I couldn't find the barrel inside, wherever it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was hidden just so I couldn't, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. All right. All right. Well, I'm anxious to see what's going on here. Well, hey, what do you decide to do about your tower? You got any updates?
No, the cost of that mounting pole was too high, so looking at other options right now, don't have anything lined up.
Yeah.
Just, I've got so much on the plate right now, I just need to sit back and wait for something to happen.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll get something figured out there.
Yeah.
But you got to get
I mean,
you an
in the
antenna.
meantime,
You got to get you an antenna in the air before winter now, man.
well, in the meantime, I've got that end fed ready to
Yeah.
hang, so I can
Hook
get that up
hook it
in
on a
almost no
house and
time.
run it out back to one of those trees,
But I have to be home to do that
Well,
stuff.
that's true. That's true. I talked last week about all the decisions I'm making on my antenna project. I haven't done anything with them. I don't know if I'm getting busy or something. I got too many things going on. We're going to be upgrading we're going to be working on the upgrade of our webcast equipment here, and Mark P is helping me some. And I need to buy a graphics card and put in here. In fact, I've got one on order. And Mark was telling me, hey, a graphics card can cost you anywhere from probably $200 to $1,500 easy, man.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna start making and selling graphic cards. To tell you the truth.
There
But
you
anyway,
go.
we're gonna work on that. I've already ordered me a bigger power supply because the graphics card is gonna suck a lot of power. So
Yep.
we're gonna change the power supply out, and we're gonna change the graphic card there. All right. Well, Glenn, I've got your pictures here. Why don't we talk about some of your pictures here and see
Sure.
what you've got? Okay. Let me see if I can start this right here, and let me go back to the first one here. I don't guess they're
Well,
in
they're not in
any
real.
particular order,
No.
Okay. I saw a picture there of Bill. I don't see him in the chat room. Maybe he'll join us in a little while. All right. Well, look at there, man. The sun is out.
This is Friday morning, just as the door opened. This is actually the backside looking towards the gate. And so you can see the crowd's still just getting in. I got in with the first of the bunch.
Well, with my trained eye, and I'm looking at a blade of grass, it looks like to me that the wind is blowing about gusting maybe 40 miles an hour.
It was pretty gusty. It was about 20.
Yeah.
There were brisk winds throughout the weekend. In fact, a couple of the balloon launches had to be postponed because the wind was just too rough for them to launch things.
Yeah. In fact, the Hamvention chairman went around in the flea market telling everybody each night they needed to take their tents down. So people took their tents down so they wouldn't blow away. I can remember many years ago when we were outside, entire shelters and tents would get picked up, and they would go like 3 rows over before they hit the ground. I mean, there's always been a lot of wind there, so you got to really fasten things down. But it looks like you guys beat the rain. I think there was rain probably after Hamvention, but I don't think you got into any real mud, did you?
No, there was no mud whatsoever. It rained horribly Friday night. They had tornado warnings and whatnot, but the next day it was just damp. There was no mud, no soft, squishy spots. The paths in the flea market have now been done up in rock.
Yeah, I was looking at it. It
there's
looked like
no-
maybe crushed limestone or something. It's kind
Yeah,
of
it's crushed
pretty good
limestone.
service. Yeah.
It's very smooth, very dry. So, no, the rain Friday night did not affect anything, including the parking lots.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. All right. Well, this is a neat picture here. It shows the white puffy clouds.
Yeah, it was beautiful weather during the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the line I was talking about. The
Oh,
line
man.
to the right is going to the gate, and you can see how it snakes all the way back to the building across the road and then comes all the way back down to the left. And that was the line to get in.
Yeah. I hate lines.
But that's just, I have never seen it wrapped around like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing that was amazing was that was on Friday when you think the people would have work. But
Correct.
Friday was
Yes.
the busiest day of the convention, and it was
Agreed.
just mobbed.
Well, but all those people work at home now. That means they don't have to do anything. See,
Right.
They just come out to Hamvention.
But let me tell you what, the food trucks were absolutely jam-packed all 3 days, really.
Yeah, that's good. That's cool. All right. There's another
And this
picture.
is another picture of that line to try to give you some perspective. There's
Man,
Bill.
I tell you, I don't know who that might be, but it looks like he's trying to. I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh, some
I was
blues
just
guy.
hanging out there, and then Bill showed up.
What is the? I thought that was a food place. It says Forums.
Yeah, that is part of the ticket trailer.
Ah,
They have will call and a special line for forums to get the forum badges and whatnot.
oh, okay. I got you. I got you there.
Because we get special badges saying we're forum moderators.
Yeah.
This is looking in right after the gates opened. And you can see the crowd's already building.
Oh, yeah. They sure are.
This is the Carnival Fairway.
Yeah. And then, of course, you can see, this is, again, everybody coming in.
Mm-hmm.
It was wall-to-wall people in about 10 minutes.
Wow.
You couldn't move through the buildings looking at the stuff.
Now, what is
This was
this?
out in the flea market. What does it look like, man? It is a Coca-Cola pedal car with a trailer that I'm assuming is an ice chest. And that thing was just
And those are some kind of bags. And they're not suitcases.
those are purses.
Purses. Okay.
Yeah, they got anything and everything out in that flea market.
Yeah. Cool.
But I saw that that's from the 50s. Somebody has refurbished that and painted it, and it's gorgeous.
Yep.
There's another picture of it from the other side here. There
Oh,
you
yeah.
go, showing a little bit better. But that was just fabulous.
Well,
So,
I wonder if it was for sale.
yes, it was.
Yeah, it's up high. I doubt to get any drinks.
I
out
didn't
of that
see the
cooler.
price because the wind had blown the tag up, but it was one of those, if I had to ask or look at it, I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
just was marveling at the quality of the rebuild on that. And then this is looking from the grandstands out to the flea market, and you can see that it's just wall-to-wall tents for what, Brett, about 8, 9 rows or 10 rows worth?
Yeah. It's big.
They had hundreds of booths. It
Yes.
just walking the flea market could take your whole day.
Well, it was very tiring too. The last few times we walked it out there. I mean, by the time we got to the distal end, we were tired.
Yeah, as it turns out, on Friday I walked 8.7 miles, and over the 4 days, counting airports, I'd walked over 20 miles.
Wow, that's quite a bit.
So, yeah,
Quite a bit.
it was a lot. There's my forum there on Saturday,
Yeah.
and we had another full house. The forum went over really, really well. Had a lot of fun. And
Glenn had a full
hopefully I'll
house,
get you.
even though he was at the far end of the of the flea market and everything else, near the grandstand, the most remote location, and he packed the room.
Yeah, I was out, that building 4 right behind the grandstands.
Is that right?
But the room was full. Yeah, and we had a great time in there. Brett, were you actually in there? I never even saw you.
I came in. I've got to look toward the back. It was packed.
Okay, because I did not see you. I didn't see Rich Moseson in there and a couple other folks that came up to me after it. I'm like, I did not see you. It was that packed.
I gave a forum, I think last time I was there, but it was in one of the the big building there, right near the food court, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Is this a new building they've opened up? I don't recall.
I think they've
being
added
used.
that building as a forum.
Oh, really? Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and John, you could guess that room would hold about 100 plus people. So, and every seat was full, and they were standing along the back row.
Well, all right. Well, hey, thanks for sharing pictures with us. And, I may go back here in a year or two. I may just go up there just to look around,
Yeah.
I'll
It was great.
I'll start watching the weather because I sure don't want to go up there and the weather's bad.
Well, I also got to see our old friend Rich Moseson, and Riley Hollingsworth was there,
Yeah.
and got to sign a lot of books on Friday and Saturday.
Well, that's
And
good.
got to
Good.
see a lot of our friends up there.
Good.
Ran
All right.
into James, WD8IOL. The funny thing is, I never saw Mark P. I raced through the flea market because, as Brett said, it was just so massive.
Well, I was
and
going to ask
somehow I
if
managed
I was
to
going to
miss
ask
Mark.
if either one of you guys would stop by and said hi to Mark. I don't think you did.
I did not because I didn't see him. I was that rushed getting through the flea market.
Southwest corner, outer loop, 8220.
Southwest.
Yep, he was about
That's-
10. He's about 10 booths in the southwest corner.
I must have flown right past it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I waved.
Yeah, we had we had a sky cam up and a
Yeah, I did not see any sky
booth,
cam.
we had a booth cam.
Nope,
Yeah,
did not see that.
We had a good time. We had a good time. I've got some video too here, and we're gonna see what Brett's got here in a minute. But we tried to do a walk around out there. Mark tried it. He was going to use. He's got several different carriers, and I think he was on 4G, and it was just lousy. You couldn't go 10 foot with 4G, and it was just breaking up or freezing. And it wasn't any good. The video I've got here from our friend Jeff N3VE. He had a 5G phone. Man, that is the clearest, smoothest transmission I saw. He could walk anywhere out there. In fact, he webcasted for us all through the buildings, running a 5G on a phone, and not a single freeze or drop.
Wow.
So I don't know what the difference was there. Maybe the 4G is just overloaded. I don't know, man.
Probably service provider as well.
Could be.
Because actually my T-Mobile had good signal throughout.
Well, I think Mark had good signal. It's just it just didn't work. Maybe, out of the 30,000 people out there, probably 29,000 had telephones pinging the tower on 4G. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My Verizon phone was not happy.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, we streamed it all day Friday, and most of the day. I think we stopped about 4 o'clock on Saturday, but we did pretty good. Our TV production crew didn't show up, but
bummer.
hey, but we did okay. We had a good time. Okay. Mark is
My
mentioning.
fun happened.
Mark mentions T-Mobile and Verkson. Is that a new carrier out there, Verkson?
Verkson, yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right.
My
Hey,
fun happened on the return trip, though.
uh,
My flight kept getting delayed leaving Dayton, and thank God I had a 3 hour layover in Chicago
oh,
because
wow.
literally I got into Chicago and I had to run. And if you've been to Chicago, Tom, I had
Oh,
to
yeah.
run from Concourse G to Concourse L, and I
Oh,
made
no.
it with like 10 minutes to spare for my flight down to Little Rock.
Hmm.
And then of course it was right at the leading edge of the thunderstorm. So I got in, got my luggage, and drove home, and literally pulled inside my garage at 10 minutes before it all came loose with tornado warnings and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well,
But I made it.
I always try to book a little extra time on those change planes because you can just about guarantee they're going to be late. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Although,
But this
if you think about that, that probably means the departing plane's going to be late, so it might all equal out. I don't know, man.
It
Yeah.
it did not in this case. It was
Yeah.
just that I luckily had a 3+ hour layover booked in Chicago simply because Little Rock only has like 3 flights a day. I mean
Oh, yeah.
it's Timbuktu out here, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's
I had a
Bill.
direct flight to
Bill just
Denver,
joined
and
us. Bill
yeah,
just joined us in the chat room there.
I see.
We'll
Yeah.
Yeah,
tell you what.
I
Let's
did
take
get
a.
to
Go ahead, Glenn.
I did get to sit through Bill's forum. I missed the launch, but I did get to see their forum. It was really nice.
Well, that's good. Well, we've got the. I think we got the Saturday launch here, and Bill had told us about the launches. Of course, it was windy, and I think a couple of flights bounced off a couple of golf
Yeah,
golf cars. Wow, I can't even talk. I think they even hit one guy in the head there in the food mart,
yeah.
and then it went on up there. We've got the video here of the one launched on Saturday. It's about a minute
And
long.
he checked on one of those two actually had made it to Turkey by Sunday morning.
Yeah, yeah, they're. I think
One
so.
did survive.
Yeah, yeah, and that's about where we are with 119 right now. And our second lap around is Turkey there. Okay, let's take just a quick break. We'll be right back, and I tell you, we'll look at we'll look real quick at Bill's video of his launch there. So we'll be right back, guys. ICOM's IC7760 is the pinnacle of base station excellence for amateur radio enthusiasts. Designed to deliver unmatched performance, the IC7760 features state-of-the-art technology, exceptional RF clarity, and an intuitive interface, all housed in a sleek and durable design. This base station features a separate remote control head and RF deck, providing enhanced flexibility for installation. Place the RF deck closer to the antenna feed point, freeing up space on your desk. You can also connect a control head to the RF deck through your home network, enabling remote operation from anywhere in your home without needing a PC. Pair the IC7760 with a powerful IC-PW2 linear amplifier and take your contesting experience to the next level with ICOM's industry-first linear amplifier. Together, they redefine what's possible in amateur radio. For more information about ICOM's amateur radios, please visit icomamerica.com/amateur. All right, we will do this. Let's look at Bill's launch of, let's see, this was, I have my show schedule all written out, but I always leave it in my office and I never bring it to the show. So this video that Bill sent us is, it's actually W8BI 11, I think. Yeah, I think it's W8BI 11. And it's APRS, and it's flying right now. And let's take a look at it and see what it looks like here real quick. So here we go.
Yeah, Bill is saying that's the Sunday launch when the winds were a little bit calmer. And that's why it
Well,
was also easier to see.
there he goes.
It was also easier to see Bill and the launch there on Sunday because the crowd Saturday, I could not see him from across the commons.
Yeah.
Because I'd planned toward it.
All right. Well, that was a good launch there. Again, those are APRS, not Whisper. So there's going to be areas that, as that balloon is flying, you're not going to get reports. For instance, over the ocean, you're not going to get reports, and over certain areas, you're not going to get reports because it's VHF and Whisper, not VHF and APRS only. And that's one of the reasons we've flown both. We've flown the APRS trackers, but I like the Whisper trackers because they transmit about 5,000 miles, and you can get a report back anywhere in the world. Every 10 minutes as it crosses the ocean. So that's the main reason we fly the Whisper. But yeah, Bill does a launch up there every year, and that launch you just saw was for it was the youth rally, I guess, at the youth rally launch, maybe. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, Bill is saying it was too windy to launch the Whisper tracker, but they'd planned to launch one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wind Friday was just unbelievably strong.
Okay. Read the comments here. You know, I think if I think the Whisper would be easier to launch if they use something like we use on our last flight that's flying right now, the in-fed half-wave antenna that hangs below, because that puts the tracker right up at the balloon. You know, when you're running a dipole, the tracker is 17 feet below the balloon, because your antenna is 17 feet from there up the balloon and 17 feet down. So, but with the half-wave in-fed, I found it was very easy to launch. I just took it out by myself. I didn't have any help, and the tracker was just a couple feet below the balloon, and the rest of the antenna hung below it. So it was really easy to do. You know, our next launch, I don't know which one I'll use. I think they both perform probably about the same, the half-wave dipole and the half-wave in-fed. But haven't decided yet which one we'll use. All right, well, let's do this. Let's see what Brett's got to say. He's got some video, pictures, or something. He can tell us a story, and man, he bought him a nice item out there. I'm glad he got it. So go ahead and take it, Brett.
There we are. Okay. Well, I had a fun trip to Hamvention. I've got some video documenting that, so I can go ahead and do a screen share here and show you some of it. I started driving from Laramie, Wyoming down I-25 and to get to the Denver airport. And when you go to the Denver airport from Laramie, you go down through Fort Collins, Colorado, and Loveland, Colorado. And then you come to this place that I only heard about a couple of years ago from Tom. We were sitting at dinner one day. I never, he described it to me, and I thought, wow, that's really amazing. I'm not sure I believe him. It's this amazing sort of convenience store on steroids along the highway where you could go and get gas, food and snack, everything else. And well, it turned out that they built one in Colorado, so I went ahead and stopped there on the way. And so this is this is the Northern Colorado Buc-ee's, and I wandered in there to get some lunch. And well, it really is quite an amazing place. I went inside. You can just see how big it is. It's like a football field, and they have, well, everything that you could possibly want in a convenience, including the one very, very important thing: clean bathrooms. They have huge, very almost spotless bathrooms. You can see the cleaning cart right there, which I think is the reason, one of the reasons a lot of people stop there. And then, as you can see, the food is just, they have pretty much every sort of snack food for the road you could possibly want. And so I'm across the floor here so you can get an idea of just how many displays they had, how much stuff they have at Buc-ee's. Incredible. I understand that when they do youth on the Denver, they're going to take the young hams to Buc-ee's. Things like pudding cups, fancy pudding cups of several different flavors. There's key lime there and banana, and then a zillion kinds of fudge. I don't think I've ever seen in one place so many flavors of fudge as they have there in the case. It was pretty. So I went ahead and got myself a barbecue sandwich pudding cup, and that was that gave me the fuel for the rest of my trip. It was a long trip. I was on Southwest Airlines. Intentionally flew Southwest Airlines to get to Hamvention, and because Columbus is a Southwest city and is not a Southwest city, and the reason why was I wanted to bring stuff from the flea market. Oh, but here is a wall beef jerky. They have every possible kind of flavor of jerky, and literally just walls of it. This is one of the 2 walls that they had in this Buc-ee's store. But in any case, that turned out to be a good choice in terms of travel because, well, I got, I filled every suitcase I had and used my allowance. And I finally got to a hotel. And I didn't get into the show hotel, both because it was expensive and because it was completely booked. And so I wound up at a Quality Inn where a lot of hams were staying. I think they call it the Quality Inn, but the quality of the inn is, well, sort of open to question. You can see this amazing rug that they had here. It made you, if you weren't already inebriated when you walked down the hall, you probably think you were.
It just needs a little shampooing, that's all.
Yeah, I know. It sort of looked like the shampooing was going on, and those are the bubbles.
Mm.
So, in any case, on the morning of on Friday morning, I got up, got on the road, and drove from Fairborn, Ohio, where the hotel was, to Xenia, Ohio, where the fairgrounds are, where the convention takes place. And it's beautiful countryside. You can see all the trees and all the farmland there. We passed major farm vehicle way as I was driving south. You can see faithful GPS there in the corner, and eventually wound up in Xenia. And then I hit traffic, and the traffic denser and denser as I got to the fairgrounds. I was thinking, wait a minute. This is a Friday. This isn't even Saturday. Aren't these people supposed to be at work? Well, I guess I took off from work because as I got closer and closer to the fairgrounds, the traffic became slower and slower. There were police all over the place, and I had to sit for a long while in traffic getting to the fairgrounds. And you can see that as we go through Xenia here. It was definitely congested, and I realized this is a big event. There are a lot of people in this. So anyway, as you can see, they had event info on the radio. They had a talk-in. a couple of seconds here as I had to put down my camera to brake for the traffic. And it'll come back. Okay. And so I sat in traffic, and I won't bore you with with the full timing, but it took me about a half an hour from this point to get into the fairgrounds. As we approached the fairgrounds, there were all kinds of signs welcoming the hands. This is a big event for Xenia, and so there were signs on all of the buildings, even the one church right next to the fairgrounds, and you can see they were hosting the license testing, and electronic welcome signs out welcoming the hams. So this is a big deal for the small town of Xenia, Ohio. So we finally got in, and they had volunteers directing you to park across this gigantic lawn. And there miles and miles. Well, wasn't really miles, but it felt like that from the actual fairgrounds. And so they took you in on golf carts. You lined up, and eventually you got in. And the lines were quite long, but as you can see, I've ended in with the crowds. And here is sort of, I guess, what you'd call the Carnival Fairway, which had all of the food trucks and led to all of the buildings. So here are some of the food trucks. I took pictures of them. They had eggs, curds, chicken strip, pizza, Mexican food, all sorts of all sorts of interesting stuff, and not just state fair food, but some pretty good food. Here they were here they were grilling pork chops and gigantic hamburgers.
Man, that is a thick pork chop back there.
That is. Corn. What else?
And that green stand right there, she made fresh squeezed lemonade that was to die for.
Oh yeah, and they had frozen cheesecake dipped in chocolate on a stick. So they really had everything. But I wasn't ready to eat yet, so I went right out to the flea market and started hunting my quarry. I had a specific item that I wanted to get, and so I started looking. And you can see some of what I saw here in the flea market. I have a fair amount of flea market footage here. Everything under the sun at this flea market. Here are little spools to wind up your antenna on if you're doing POTA and you need to wind up your antenna wire. They had all 3D. This is all quite something. This particular booth was giving away free bottled water, and I took them up on it. Antique radios, lots of them. This one says Firestone on the front. I didn't know there was a Firestone brand radio. I thought they made tires, but there you go. Hard drives, more old radios. You're going to see as this video rolls here, you'll see lots of old radios. All sorts of handmade ham equipment of various kind. This is all DIY stuff, and some of it was quite well made and beautiful. So you can see here a lot of Heathkit and Drake stuff, cables. If you needed any kind of cable, you could get it here. And you'll see, here's a one of the speakers for the national radio that I sometimes display behind me during the shows. They had lots of those, and I was tempted to buy one, but I didn't have room in my luggage. Portable test equipment. I almost went that network tester there. I decided we had too many, but I almost went for that. Amplifiers. One of the things that seemed to be, just all over the place were the Ameritron tube amplifiers. That was a very popular item. Soldering equipment. This was an entire booth with nothing but soldering equipment. And then, of course, you looked around under the tables and on the tables, all sorts of things. And then on the vehicles, you could see there were all kinds of antennas. And, well, I could do a whole video just on the vehicle antennas that I saw. So anyway, I'll just let this go for a while. You'll see things that you'll recognize here on the tables. All sorts of stuff.
A lot of MFJ products that aren't going to be around in years.
Yep.
And people were snapping those up because they knew that. Calculators. And always, I always say this, look under the tables because some of the real treasures are there. Just an amazing amount of stuff. And sorry, my finger got on the lid for a second. It'll get past that. HTs, books of all kinds, and here are some of the vehicle antennas, especially on some of the emergency response vehicles, that were really impressive. Look at that mast.
That's what Glenn needs in his backyard. Glenn, just buy you a truck.
Yeah, there you go.
So this one had a loop on it, and then it had this huge diamond antenna up there, way up there on a very tall mast. Here's more tall masts. These vehicles were very impressive. And here's another one. This one had a G5RV on it. And then, again, back to the tables. It's going along there. There were a lot of interesting things you don't see very often. Here's another Helicrafters receiver. Here's the venerable Zenith Transoceanic that a lot of people collect. So I'll just let this run for a little bit. So I spent most of the day rooting through this stuff, looking for the particular things that I wanted. And there were a few unexpected things that I picked up. It took me until I got to the very back of the flea market, all the way in the far corner, before I found the item that I was really looking for. And it wasn't much to see. The item that I'm looking for is sort of a plain black box that mounts on your antenna mast, and I'll show you that maybe in a minute here. But it took me a long time to find it, and I had to go through. Here's a bunch of video games, just all sorts of stuff here. Big dummy loads. Want to have a full legal dummy load? You could find it there. They were big and heavy. There's no way I could have gotten that home in my luggage, though. Repeaters and the filters for them. Antenna selectors. It's one of the MFJ remote antenna selectors. It's also going to be a rare item. Beautiful old receivers and transmitters. This is a Crosby. Amazing stuff. And look at how clean that is. Anyway, I'm going to stop this video for a minute to show what I did find eventually. Again, all the way in the back of the Hamfest, I went ahead and what I was looking for was something which Tom has one of, and I really wanted one of badly, and that is this item right here.
Now, did you get you could power it either way, but did you get the bias T? I run mine with a bias T.
I got the bias T with it. What
Good.
this very plain looking black box is a 1500 watt capacity remote antenna tuner. So that you can put this at the base of your antenna and it will tune it really well. You'll get maximum power output by doing this. And you won't blow it out even if you're at full legal power. Now, the reason why I wanted a full legal antenna tuner was not because I intend to transmit at full legal power, but because I plan to use digital modes at maybe half of full legal power, 600 watts or so. And if I do that, well, when you have that high of a duty cycle, FT8 is 50% and RIDI is more, then your antenna tuner heats up. And so you need an overrated one. and there's no way, even if you're doing a couple of hundred watts, most antenna tuners can't handle that. But this one can. It was made for MFJ. It wasn't made by MFJ. I think LDG made it for them as an OEM unit, and it is really a one-of-a-kind device. So I went ahead and got that, and it really, like I said, there's just really nothing like it.
Now, I've never trusted just putting that out. You can put a U-bolt on that and clamp it outside, but there's too much area the water gets in that thing, and I keep a big plastic container over the top of it, to keep it dry, and that's worked out well for me.
Yeah, that's the one thing they didn't do well on this device. They have a vacuum-formed cover over the top, and they don't have a gasket around the, underneath the vacuum-formed cover to keep things out. Also, if you flip it over and you look at the connectors on the other side, the connectors really aren't weatherproofed very well at all. So what I plan to do is take this and put it into a fiberglass cabinet.
Yeah.
So that it'll be waterproof by the outer cabinet, and I may not even leave the cover on.
Right.
I may go ahead and take the vacuum formed black cover off, because then it's easier to get to the little control panel.
So Brett, one of the things I did with mine, that's an expensive tuner there, and one of the things with mine, I have the antenna tuner at the ground level. And I've got about 90 or 100 feet of open line that goes up from the tuner up to my extended double zip. The extended double zip's a doublet. It's 172 feet long. It's pretty long. And I was worried about lightning. If lightning hit in the area, it's going to come down and wipe out my MFJ. So what I did, I built a little box with a double pole, double throw relay in there, and when the 12 volts is off going to the tuner, it grounds the antenna. It disconnects and grounds the antenna. And then, of course, when you power the antenna tuner back up, the relay connects the open wire back to the. Now, also you're going to need a balun, like a 4-to-1 balun, to run between open line and the input of this, because this doesn't have a balanced input.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this has coax in. It does have coax. It does have a wing nut for a wire antenna coming out.
Yeah.
At least, and one thing I did look at inside, I don't know if it would protect it from lightning very well, but they did put MOVs on the output lines. So that's not going to absorb like a really serious lightning strike, but it'll help for distant ones. And so hopefully hopefully the tuner would survive. I probably will have to put in a cutoff of some kind as well.
Yeah. I mean, you take $1,000 tuner and set it out there with an antenna up that high. You feel nervous about lightning, believe me.
Yeah, and the list price on these new is about $1,000. I was able to snag this one used, but in very good condition, for about $400.
Yeah, that's a good price.
So that was a good price, and it made it worth the trip.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, going back to the video, more stuff on all of the tables. They're all 300.
Yeah, Bill, it works the same way. You just send some power to it, and it'll automatically tune, and it has memory.
There's a payphone. Yeah. More amplifiers. Boy, if you wanted an amplifier, this is the place to go. This is interesting. This is a field telegraphy kit where it had keys for everybody, for multiple operators. And somehow it connected them all together. I don't know quite how that worked, but it was fascinating. You think maybe
that was for training or something?
I don't know. It looked like
the cables look awful. The cables look awful short on those keys.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that.
I think everybody be sitting around the table there.
Yeah. I don't know if they would be sitting around the table training
Yeah,
or if it was if you had a communications center, they had some way of separating out what everybody was doing. But
yeah.
it was an interesting. I hadn't seen anything like that before. So on and on, and then well, it was time to break for lunch. So I came back to the plaza, which was packed, and there were two food trucks. Of all the food trucks, there were two of them that really got the most attention and had the longest lines. One of them was serving gyros, which I didn't try, but people were telling me that they were quite good. And the other one was the Cajun truck, which was serving bourbon chicken, and that had the longest line of all. And that is what I decided to try for lunch. And so here you go. Have the bourbon chicken and kind of a sweet sticky sauce and rice and beans and a big iced tea. And I finished this meal and I turned around and immediately I turned around to see Bill launching a balloon. So you've already seen the video of that. Well, then I went inside and there was lots of stuff on tables, more collectors' radios in beautiful condition. And in between the buildings, more vehicles with interesting antennas. These show up at every show. This loop here, this company, they call this their baby loop. You can only imagine how big the non-baby loop is. And those plates at the top are the capacitor that tunes it. And so the whole thing flexes. You can see the hydraulic. You can see the hydraulic motor there. That's what that's what tunes it. It flexes the loop, and that capacitor at the top tunes it. There were a lot of tuners for screwdriver antennas on display at the show. I thought that was interesting. Maybe screwdriver antennas are coming back into vogue now. Here's another one. And then tons of test equipment and just lots of interesting things in all of the halls. So I spent the whole day wandering around there. And then in the evening, I went off to the 4 days in May QRP QRP event where they were doing that the transmitter contest. I did not wind up competing in that because the TSA damaged what I was going to try to enter. But I stayed for a while, watched everybody else try to produce the maximum signal, and then I went over to the Hope Hotel in Fairborn, where they had a musical performance, and we're going to get to that in a minute. I have that after we get through these signal analyzers, which are also very impressive. There we go. Now this band here is called the Spurious Emissions Band, and they like to call themselves the Weird Owls of ham radio. And every song they played was a parody of a popular song, only with ham radio lyrics. Here's the beginning of one that they did, which was a parody of Tequila Sunrise. So this one was 60 meters sunrise. So anyway, I won't bore you with the entire song, but you get the idea. And that was a lot of fun. The room was packed. They had a raffle. They raised a lot of money for the world radio competition, and just generally had a lot of fun there. And then I went home. Went back to the hotel. Went to bed. But when I got to the hotel, I parked my car. I did not get out of my car for about 5 minutes because the rain was so torrential that I figured I just think I'll sit here and check to see what came in on my phone because I would have gotten soaked in an instant if I came out. There were thunderstorms, there were tornadoes all over the place. Finally, the rain calmed down a bit, and I dashed into the hotel and got into bed and fell asleep exhausted. So next morning, I was back out at the Hamfest looking at more equipment. And I still hadn't finished the entire flea market the first day, so I went back and covered the rest the second day. Here are bags of parts, all sorts of other things. They were giving away or actually selling antique computer boards. And well, you can see all of this is pretty recognizable. Another national receiver here. Lots of power supplies, but that's not the kind of thing that you can take home in your suitcase because you'll exceed the weight limit right away.
That's what backpacks are for.
Oh, yeah. Well, you could probably get it in as on.
Well, I won a
Maybe they're-
diamond 40 amp supply in Orlando last year. And me and George, WD4ORM, had to take it out of the box and stuff it into my backpack and get it through TSA.
Oh, I'll bet TSA had fun with it.
I'm sure that TSA has fun at these events, watching all the stuff that people are bringing home.
I was worried they were going to ask me to take the cover off the tuner because that's what I did hand carry that, but they didn't. Microphones. This is cool. So anyway, I spent the morning of Saturday finishing up the flea market, and then went to the forums. And there's a dummy load for you. That's a full legal dummy load right there. No way. I don't think I could have even fit that one into a backpack.
I couldn't lift it.
It's like a radiator.
Yeah.
And there was something, well, that some people are great fans of. They had all of the slugs for bird watt meters, and lots of them throughout the flea market. Pretty much anything if you wanted to collect these meters, and I know some people do, then you had you could go crazy at this flea market.
I finally got me a HF slug for the bird at the Huntsville Hamfest.
Yeah.
That's pretty rare. The HF,
And so I went.
the HF slugs are pretty rare. I had a bunch of UHF, VHF. What are you going to say, Glenn?
And then, yeah.
No, that
And
was
then
Brett.
at the end of the
Oh,
day, and then and then at the end of the day there was another pizza party. On Sunday the flea market was pretty much shut down. There wasn't that much going on. I went back for a little while to see see the final raffles and see if I'd won anything. And then the Hamfest shut down at about 1 or 1:30 in the afternoon. And my flight wasn't until 8 at night. So I wandered into the town of Xenia and just sort of drove around. And there on one of the back streets, I found this community theater. And it turned out that they had all sorts of good shows going on, and they had a matinee. So I went in and went to the show. And that took up my afternoon, and then I got on the plane and finally got home. I was delayed as well. And, Glenn mentioned being delayed. I was delayed as well because there were thunderstorms in Denver, and they had a ground stop.
That
And so I made
community
it
theater
everywhere.
you were at, Brett, was just
Yeah.
literally a block or two away from the bed and breakfast I stay at there in Xenia.
Ah, yeah. But anyway, they were very good. They did, the show I went to was a show consisting of 11 monologues, and it was all women, and all of the actresses were really good. Delivered them all very well. It was a good afternoon at the theater, and then a boring drive back to the airport.
All right, now you
And
failed. You have not told us. You thought you had a good chance of winning the contest of the most power out of a chip.
hmm
So tell us about
Yeah, the
that,
most
man.
power out of a TTL chip. But as I said, what happened was that I made the mistake of putting the device I'd soldered together, and what I did was I built it around maybe this was a mistake. I built it right on the dip socket. I had a wire wrap dip socket, and I went ahead and soldered things to the dip socket. So it was kind of, it was a prototype. It was kind of haywired. And then I threw in the bag. I also threw in a bunch of alligator clips. I threw in a power supply to test it. A bunch of stuff. Well, it turns out that this set off some real red flags somewhere in a back room at the airport, and it was just, it was practically completely disassembled. There was no way I was going to get everything working. It just, I wasn't going to try powering it up. Next time
So
I will
so
know.
so you had this chip
And
with all the wire wraps around it, and you had alligator clips. It sounded like to me you were going to tap into something somewhere. It sounds illegal to me.
well, I don't know. I thought the idea of ham radio was that you could homebrew anything, and as long as you knew what you were doing and you certified that it worked, you could do it. But
Yeah,
maybe not.
maybe.
But
Look,
anyway, it was not. It was not in condition to be fired up by the time it got back to me.
let me tell you what, I got into almost an argument with TSA in Little Rock getting out because they had me, I had all the metal, everything out of my pockets, and, take your shoes off, throw them in the tray. And he asked me, do you have anything in your pockets? No. And he says, I'm going to ask you again, do you have anything in your pockets? No.
Sounds like you're
And he
lying.
said, one last time, I'm going to ask you, do you have anything in your pockets? And I said, just my boarding pass and a handkerchief. He says, you have something in your pockets. They go in the tray.
Yep.
And I'm like, what kind of crazy TSA is concerned about a piece of paper and a handkerchief?
Well, I can tell you why. I saw a professor on YouTube talking to his class, and he put one drop of nitroglycerin on a piece of paper, one little drop, and then he carefully put the nitroglycerin away. And then later he took that piece of paper and he hit it with a hammer. And I'm talking, it was a big explosion with one drop. You could have had nitroglycerin all over that boarding pass.
Well, I do have nitroglycerin tablets.
Yeah, yeah. Why don't you,
I mean, for
hey,
my
I tell you
heart.
what, for next week, why don't you dissolve one in just about an ounce of water, dissolve one, and shake it up really good to make sure it, kind of, dissolves, and then let's see what we can do with it.
Yeah, that mushroom cloud you see off in the distance would be me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I've never had that kind of issue going through TSA with a boarding pass sitting in my pocket.
Well,
Now that they have those millimeter wave things, it will be set off by just about anything. Even if your pocket is wrinkled, that's enough.
Well,
But
what's funny,
oddly, yeah. But anyway,
what's
the odd
funny,
thing
go
is
ahead.
the odd thing is there are some things that they ignore that are really obvious. For example, right here on my wrist, you can see I have a bracelet. This was actually a Leatherman tool bracelet. It's called a leather base. It's called the Leatherman Tread. They have never once asked me to take that off. And I go through the millimeter wave scanner, but if there's something, like I said, if your pocket is even wrinkled, then they will pat you down. So
Well,
I'm not
let
sure
me
what
tell
they're
you
looking
something.
for, but they're very weird and selective.
Yeah. Well, now here's the other thing. Then they send me through the line with the machine, and guess what? I have metal in my chest. I
Well, they're
have
gonna
three
they're
steps.
gonna they're gonna open you up, man. You got to be careful
Yeah,
there.
that set them off again. And yeah, they were reaching for the knives, man. They were going to cut me open on the spot. But yeah, so I definitely got everything but the full body cavity search this time around.
Oh boy.
Wow.
All right.
Craziness.
So I'm sorry you didn't get a chance to win the prize, but
Yeah, well, I'll know for next time. And
Yeah.
the transmitter that I designed, I still did some unique things there with with the driver transistors and all that. So we'll see what they ask for next year. They'll see what kind of a contest they have. I may still be able to enter.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Brett and I put our heads together after that event, and we've got a few design tweaks that might even help it go better. So next year, Brett's going to be able to really put together something good, I think. He had it good this year. Next year, I think we can make it better.
Yep, and this time I will hand carry it personally, and very carefully through the through the TSA line.
And Brett, that stuff I talked about getting you, I will get it out of the boxes tomorrow and get it in the mail to you.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, as soon as I can get them dug up.
Yeah. And so, like I said, I had a good Hamvention. It was successful. I found the specific thing I was looking for in the flea market. What more can you ask for from a Hamfest?
So hey,
Oh,
let
it
me
was-
ask you: did you have to use your the new driver's license with the star? What do they call that?
Yes.
What do they call it?
Real ID.
Real-
Yeah, the real
ID.
ID. Did you have that, Brett?
I've had that on my license for years. It
Okay, I
hasn't
don't
been a
have
problem
that,
for
but
me.
I went ahead and renewed my passport. I have my passport. That'll do the same thing.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
do
I've
carry
had
a
my
passport.
Real ID for years.
Well, Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, sound like you had fun. I may have to go back in a year or two just to.
It was
check
a
things out.
whirlwind of fun from start to finish.
Yeah. And the people, I've got to say, I ran into so many, you don't realize how many people you know until
Yes.
you just bump into them. It's like, hi, I remember you, you're in my log, or I've seen you one place or another.
Yeah.
Ran into a lot of YouTubers,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
a lot of scientists. The people from my old alma mater, Case Institute of Technology, were there in force as part of the HamSci group.
All right.
So we talked shop and talked about the Ham Shack at the university and things like that.
Cool. All right. So Bill sent me a couple pictures. Let's look at those pictures and see what Bill sent. He got them in here kind of last few minutes. But let's just check this out. If I can figure out how to do this. If I can figure it out. There we go. There's Joe, K0NEB there with Bill.
Yeah, I had lunch with Joe on Sunday.
Yeah. And there, look at there. There's
Yep.
Brett.
There I am.
There he is. Okie dokie. All right, now Bill sent me just a minute ago. He sent the video. He sent a video of the balloons bouncing off the golf carts. So let's see if we can run that video and see what we see. So here we go. This would be the day before when the wind was so high. Here we go.
4, 3, 2, 2, 1. Whoa.
Oh, that was dragging the ground.
Hey. Oh, wow. Wow.
Oh, man. You know, we launched one a couple years ago, and it had the same trajectory. In fact, it hit the food truck over there. All right, that one made it up.
Missed the trees, though. That's what's important.
Yeah. Looks like both of them are
They
in the air
actually
there.
both
so,
made it up,
yeah,
but one of them only got as far as Pennsylvania.
yeah. Well, there were a lot of storms around, mostly south of Dayton. I don't know about north, but it looks like those are heading north, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Oh, that would be old.
That looks like a rain cloud right there. It's kind of dark.
Yes.
On Friday, it gradually became gloomier and gloomier, but the sky really didn't open until about, maybe about 7 at night, 8 at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
This cloud here goes straight down.
Well, all right. Well, he got them launched. A couple of them are still in the air. It looks like one of them's in the trees on a mountainside somewhere, and I think
That's the one in
someone
Pennsylvania.
is going to try to go find it here pretty soon. All right. Let me think. What did I have next? Let me just give you guys a report on the latest balloon we launched about 20 days ago. We launched it for the Arkansas River Valley Amateur Radio Foundation over in Russellville, Arkansas area. That's where Glenn and I went to the Russellville Hamfest, and we launched one farm. I was wanting to get them around the world, and I launched one farm, and it made it to Kazakhstan, and it went down in Kazakhstan. Not sure what happened. Let's take a look at the one flying right now, and if I can just find the shot here. There we go. Here we go. So this is W5KUB 119, and it's on its second lap around the world. And guess where it is right now? Kazakhstan. This is where we lost it, the other one. But this is the second trip around. Let's see if we can show it here. This is looking at Sunday Hub. Let me change it and get it. Here we go. This is going to show you the route it took, and I'm going to show you the projected. Okay, here we go. So you can see it's almost following the same path the first lap did around the world, except here, if you remember on last time, we took a little detour and we went to Turkey, I think. And this year this time we didn't take the detour. Actually, I think that was GPS spoofing or jamming or something right there. So, but you can see where the balloon is now. Again, it's over, I think Kazakhstan is right in that area. You can see the dots of the projected. It's pretty much following the route it took the first time around. It looks like we might go over North Korea this time. Yeah. Looks like we're north of the DMZ. So we're gonna, if it sticks true to this prediction, we're gonna go over North Korea, and then we'll hit Japan there. I don't like the new maps that these tracking places are using, because if you look, everything is in. Look at that. Can you read that? Yeah. Look at that.
It's all in Chinese.
No, I can't.
I don't like the maps they're using. So
there, it's in Arabic. Okay, it's in the native language of the country you're in.
So we with the help of another ham, and a lot of work, we developed our own map, and there's our own map using Google Maps. And you can
Nice.
see it's mostly in nice color and it's mostly in English. So what happened was, I think that, for instance, WhisperNet, and also APRS, they used to use the Google Map, and with thousands of people hitting that map every hour, there was starting to be a cost, and Google was going to start charging them. I don't have that problem. I have a paid account with Google for the map, but they don't charge me anything. They've got my credit card on file, but I forget what I get. I get something like 100,000 lookups for free. The first 100,000 is free. And then after that, then they start charging you every time you do a lookup. So I felt like, okay, I can afford this since it's not going to cost me anything. So basically, I'm the only one that's, doing lookups. And, I need to get a couple of Bills flights on here. It's not going to hit my 100,000 or 500,000 or whatever it is. It's a very high number. I don't remember what it is. But you can see right here, we're over Kazakhstan again. There it is right there, Kazakhstan. Man, oh man.
Heading towards Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah. So
You're in the stands, big league.
and the communications is not very good in the stands. A lot of times Bill has to tune into a remote SDR over in that area just to get a position of the balloons sometimes. We get very few reports from over there, so that's the reason we're running dual band, 10 meters and 20 meters, to just make our chances better to have a little bit more reporting there. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, let's see what time it is here. 9:21. We got just a few minutes. Let's see what Bill said in the chat room here. He said WhisperNet still uses the Google Maps, but it's grayed out and it says in development. Yeah. Okay. APRS.fi and Sandy Hub. Yeah, they're using the open street maps because I think they're free. All right, and he uses a remote SDR in Kuwait a lot of times to pick these up.
I think you can also use Virtual Earth. I don't know. I don't know if they
Yeah.
charge at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. All right, we got just a couple minutes. So what are we not covered tonight, guys? Let's.
So where and when is the next Hamfest?
Well, yeah. The only one I know of will be Huntsville in August. Let's see, May.
Yep.
June,
That's
July.
the same for me.
We're less than 3 months away from Huntsville. That'd be a great one. We'll be going to it. We always want to go to the Huntsville. We've already got a room there.
I do too.
Yeah.
And hopefully by then I will have finished up with the doctors. I had word from them today.
Yep.
And they are going to be fixing the SWR problem that I've had with my heart. And they're taking it from about 3.5 to 1 down to about 1.5 to 1 sometime in July.
Mm-hmm.
And the other doctor's going to fix my grounding system in June. So everything should be patched, fixed up, put back together, and ready to rock and roll come Huntsville.
Yeah, that's good. And hey,
And I also go ahead.
No, I was going to say I can't wait to Huntsville. It's going to be a solid 72 degrees. No rain.
Absolutely
No rain.
inside.
That's
no
right.
rain, no
That's right.
sunburn. But Yeah, now I also got an email over the weekend. I will be doing a forum at the Nixa Hamfest in November.
Now, where's that?
Up in That's in Nixa,
Oh,
Missouri,
yeah.
just
Oh,
about 30 miles away from Branson.
oh, okay.
So I'll be
right.
going up there and doing an Arduino forum in November.
How big of a Hamfest is that?
It's kind of about the size of Memphis Free Fest,
Oh, really?
thereabouts, maybe about
Yeah.
the Russellville.
Yeah, yeah.
So nice little ham fest.
Okay, PUR is saying there's one in Belton. Where's Belton? Is that in Texas?
What city is Belton in, or
I
what
don't-
state is Belton
I
in?
don't know. I think it's in.
Yeah, there may be some other local ones that I'll go to, but Huntsville's the one I know of for sure right now.
Oh man. All right. I'm glad you
And I'm staying
clarified
at
that.
the
I'm glad you
embassies.
clarified that. You said what? You said what city is Belton in?
Yeah, hey, Tom, I've been
Hey, I do
brain
the
dead
same
since
thing, but I
last
tell you, I'm
Thursday.
not as bad as some of these people I see on YouTube. I saw one guy the other day. He says, if so and so wins, I'm leaving the United States and moving to Hawaii.
What?
Let me
He
tell
says,
you what.
he said, if so and so wins, I'm leaving the United States. I'm moving out of here. I'm moving to Hawaii. Yeah.
Let me tell you what. Thursday, I mean, literally, when I hit the ground Thursday, it was a complete blur and total whirlwind. Brett can attest to that because the 2 or 3 times we saw each other, it was literally that. He was going one way, I was going another, and it was, hey, hi. We spent about 3 minutes together, and poof, off we went somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
It was a whirlwind until literally I got on that flight home. It was an absolute whirlwind. And today I finally got pretty much caught up. Yeah, and
Yeah.
James is saying don't forget your passport for Hawaii.
Yeah, Chris says Belton has their Hamfest twice a year.
Okay.
You know,
and
I'd
that's in
like for
Texas.
Huntsville. I'd like for Huntsville to have it twice a year. I'd go there twice a year.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
Huntsville's wonderful.
yeah. So Brett, do you think you'll get back down to Huntsville this year? I know it's a long ways.
Yeah, I'm going to try. I've already got a good handle on a reasonable hotel. Unfortunately, the trick that I was using to come to the Huntsville Hamfest and stay near the convention center isn't working anymore. Used to be, the main hotel at the convention center was real expensive, but even just the ones a few blocks away weren't so expensive. It was a Spring Hill Suites that had really good rates. Well, they caught on to the Huntsville Hamfest, and now they jacked up their rates for the event. So I'm going to be staying a little farther away this time.
Well, there's a
if I come.
couple. There's a couple new hotels right across the street from the center. I don't know what kind of price. They probably have jacked it up too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, I've reached the point that whatever that Embassy Suites charges is going to be good enough for me. I love that convenience of just that walkway to the Hamfest.
Yeah. You know, out of all the years I traveled and everything, and I've just decided, in retirement that I'm going to stay at the best hotel. There's no need of going to a 3-star hotel and saving, $50 here. I mean, there's no
Oh,
need
yeah.
to do that.
No, I agree 100%. But the rate at the Embassy Suites that the Huntsville Club got wasn't that bad this year, but they're all
Yeah.
sold out
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
It's like my bed and breakfast. We all made reservations for next year before we even checked out in Dayton.
Now, here's what a
Wow.
lot of hams do. I'm not telling you to do this. I don't do it. But a lot of hams go by the Drury Inn there, up there in Dayton, each morning to have breakfast, to have free breakfast, and then they leave. Because the Drury has a good free breakfast. And there's a hotel right next door, and I knew guys that would stay over there at that hotel next door, and they'd all come over to the Drury and have breakfast the next, that morning.
They'll catch on eventually, but
Yeah.
it's such good business for Xenia, I don't think, or the the area, I don't think anybody really cares.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, the next ham radio event that I'm going to be going to is not a big one, but it's in Cheyenne, Wyoming. It's called Trunk Fest. And they're going to have it on the 31st of May. And what a Trunk Fest is everybody just comes with their cars and opens up their trunks, and everything is free.
Oh, I
So
thought
it's
you
Oh,
like
wow.
I thought.
So yes, it's like a swap meet, but everything, you can walk away with as much junk as you can carry. So this is where
I-
people get to clean
It's
out.
a true swap
Oh
meet.
man. Hey, I
Yeah.
thought you were saying Trump Fest.
No.
Trump Fest. Trump
Hello,
Fest.
Tom. Just wanted to let you know that I'm studying for my tech test. I watch Amateur Radio Roundtable every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central on W5KUB.com. You guys have a great show. Keep up the good work.
All right. Well, I just wanted you guys to know he's working on his license. Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
So
I'll tell you.
So that's the next one I'm going to go to, and I'm sure we're going to have people coming up from Colorado for that one.
Well, the one I may try to get down on Texas. There's just a couple of hamfests down there, and make it a dual purpose trip while I'm down here to see our buddy Elon.
Well, see your son too.
Yeah, yeah.
Tom,
yeah.
I just wanted to let you know that when we get our mission to Mars going, I want to schedule you and your show to be the first to communicate with us in space. By the way, I never miss an episode of Amateur Radio Roundtable on Tuesdays nights on W5KUB.com.
All right. Well, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Now, one thing for Huntsville, Bill Brown has offered his farm. He's on a goat farm just south of Huntsville, and he's offering goat and breakfast. So
Goat
something to
breakfast.
think about.
Goat
Goat
breakfast.
and breakfast. Instead of bed and breakfast, it's goat and breakfast.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm probably going to do is I might be able to go to that. I'm going to go up to we'll go up to Montesano, though, because they have a huge POTA party before the Huntsville Hamfest every year. And a big
Yeah.
cookout. And that's always a lot of fun.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, it's
All right.
it's Huntsville's one of my favorites. It's always been. I've been going there since, oh gosh, 84.
Oh, that reminds me of something, guys. Let me just show it to you real quick. I don't know if this is a prank or what it is. I don't know here, but I want you to see something. If I can ever get my phone. I don't even remember my password now. There it is. Okay.
What's this?
Here we go. Okay. I don't know. This looks a little fishy to me.
What is it? Oh,
Oh? That's the announcement for next year.
no,
no, wait a
that's
minute.
this year's
This year.
ticket with his name on it.
I don't know, guys. I don't know. I kind of think if that
Somebody
ticket,
bought.
I would have won if that ticket. By looking, I can tell if they didn't ever put that ticket in the barrel, or I would have won. I can tell you that right now.
It's got the
Yeah,
magic
that's-
fold in it, yes.
Yeah, and that's a 2025 ticket. So yeah,
right.
there was a Tom Medlin ticket in that barrel.
No, I don't think they ever put it in the barrel, or I would have won. I feel confident. Okay. Hey, guys, everybody, thank you for watching tonight. You've been watching Amateur Radio Roundtables, the show about ham radio, shortwave, electronics. We're glad to have you. Join us next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on W5KUB.com. Join the show, join a video show, and you can always listen to the show from 5 to 7 p.m. on Thursdays on world famous WBCQ on 7490. 73s to everybody. We had a good time tonight. Glad you were with us, and we'll see you next week.
Hey,
All right. We're going to turn the stream off. And
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
all right.
As you can see, mine is just passed out behind me.
Yep.